Welcome, everybody, to the Ring the Bell podcast. That's Nick Kreider. That's Heath Bell. I'm born in Azari. It's officially baseball season. The Super Bowl is done. Spring training is here. We finally got over the hump, gentlemen. How are we doing?
Heath, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good because I picked the Chiefs to win and they won.
Same.
Yeah, I think we were robbed of a Jalen Hurts come from behind, at least tie it or win. I would love to see them gone down and see if they can drive down there. But, I kind of had the feeling that the Chiefs were going to win once they took the lead for the first time, bringing it to 28-27. And they didn't look back after that, really. So I'm happy that it was a competitive game and not a blowout. I think some people thought it would be a blowout. We've seen some pretty uninteresting games in the past, but this was one that definitely, was as advertised.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I thought the commercials kind of sucked, but
Same.
Heath,
you definitely freaked out when the Tubi commercial reel,
right?
He
definitely freaked out.
Oh, so I was at a Super Bowl party at my neighbor's house, and when that popped up, dude, he flipped out. Where's the remote?
Who sat on the remote?
We were watching it on his back patio, and like most of the wives were inside watching in the living room, and I guess they're synced up, and he freaked out. I thought they should have started with that, just before halftime or something. But that was the best commercial, I guess.
Yeah, that was great. Very
smart.
So
the game was good. Game was good. I mean, I would have liked to seen Jalen Hurts try to go down the field, and I would like to see Kansas City, stop him, but we didn't get to see that. I think it's a bogus play that you run to the 1 yard line and fall down, but I understand its strategy and that's how you win a football game, but I don't have to like it.
My buddy had a anytime touchdown parlay that he only needed McKinnon to score, the guy who went down at the 1 yard line.
Same with my friend. He was so pissed.
It was the only person that didn't score in his parlay. And there was a couple of times too where he got pretty close, but had to do it for the win, I guess.
Travis Kelce, anytime touchdown. Mahomes over 19.5 rushing yards. Kansas City money line. It's clean sweep for the boy on Sunday. But it was
man.
I'm patting my own back, baby. No, it was a great game. But listen, it's time for Padres baseball. It's so nice to see everyone coming to spring training. Bob Melvin and the media, everyone's back, and it finally feels real again, right? It's been a few months. We've just been hyperbolizing, elongating these storylines. Now we're finally here. We have some substance. And yesterday we had some big news. I know, Heath, we've been going back and forth about this Padres rotation. They make a big move. They signed Michael Wacha, 31-year-old right-handed veteran, to a 4-year deal. I know a lot of Padres fans are like 4 years, but only up to $6 million per year, which is an absolute steal. Michael Wacha, 3.32 ERA last year. Give me your initial thoughts on that contract.
I think we solidified our starting rotation right there.
Agreed.
I mean, especially to have him for 4 years. Mike Wacha is just a solid pitcher. He's not your number one, he's not your number two, but he's a solid 3 that is just going to eat up innings. He's going to be there every 5th day. He's going to give you a chance to win every time he goes out there. So I feel way better about our starting rotation now. So it's just, and down the future, we also signed Yu Darvish, that I think is a little, extreme because of his age. But, I'm going to have to say, football players is playing until their 40s now. So why not baseball players? But I'm really jealous about this time because I feel like I want to go to spring training. I want to throw some bullpens. I want to put some uniform on, just see the guys joke around, mess around in the locker room and go. I almost feel like I need to go to the gym and start working out.
Yeah.
So, but it's great time to be a Padre fan. It's great to see the boys back in town. So it's, or at least in Arizona, as I'm saying. So it's a good time. It's a good feeling right now.
Yeah, I love when the clock strikes 0 on the Super Bowl, because I know that's the start of baseball season for me. And there's nothing better than it feels right now to look at this Padres roster and see it being the most stacked we've ever seen it. So I'm really excited. I'm super excited. I think the Wacha contract is very smart. It's someone that I've been wanting to go after for a while. As you guys remember, I've echoed this, since, the beginning of the offseason. He's that guy that, gives us the depth that we need in case someone goes down, or even just be our 4th or 5th starter. I mean, we had question marks whether or not Nick Martinez was going to be a starter, a rotational piece, because he pitched so well in a reliever position last year. He's kind of that Swiss Army knife. And then, of course, the same thing with Lugo. I think those guys are similar types of players And the Lugo contract on just a yearly salary basis is worth more than Wacha's. And I honestly value Wacha more as a starting pitcher.
Agreed.
So I think it's a great deal for the Padres. It definitely, takes away a lot of questions of what they're going to do. And I don't think they're going to make any more moves before opening day. I think this is the locked in roster, and just depends
I
on who's
agree.
going to be on the active roster, who's going to come up, who's going to come down.
I agree. I think they're done. Go ahead, Heath.
I was just going to say, I think Michael Wacha came here because the team's so stacked.
Yeah.
And he's willing to take a little bit less because, especially you're playing in California, taxes are worse, this and that, and all that stuff. So, but he's like, I got a chance to win here. There's going to be a good team for quite a while. So I'll send a multi-year deal to go over there because they want to win. The organization's shown that they'll go out and get who they need, and they'll spend the money when they need to. So it's a win-win for us. I really think it all around.
I'd say a few things here. First of all, I think this indicates the Padres are going to go to a 6-man rotation, at least just to start the season. And I think Bob Melvin was even alluding to that with Martinez, Lugo, and Wacha being your 4, 5, 6 in whatever order. But I think they're going to have a very short leash for Seth Lugo and immediately go back to a 5-man if it doesn't work out, number one. Number two, it seems like the Padres and AJ Preller, with all these contracts, they're really manipulating the CBT, right? They're adding a lot of years and drastically lowering the AAV of a projected player's value. And this Wacha deal plus this Darvish extension, according to Fangraphs, it keeps the Padres right under $273 million of payroll, which is that next level of a CBT tax. So they're very calculated in the way they're doing things from a financial perspective. Speaking of a financial perspective, if you go to BetOnline right now, Nick, the Dodgers are minus 140 to win the NL West. Is there value for the Padres?
For
Plus,
sure.
130, 140 to win the NL West on betonline.ag. Use promo code BELIEVE. Come on, unbiasedly.
Look,
Where are you putting your money?
unbiasedly, if you just look and see what Fangraphs has us projected, we have more projected wins than the Dodgers, which would mean we'd win the division. So you're looking at what the experts have to say, not even the betting experts, but just the baseball experts that love stats and love all these metrics. They foresee us winning the division.
I think everybody sees the Padres as a really good team, and we're just not we're in the shadow of the Dodgers. I think Dodgers have had their time. They're everybody sees they're kind of falling off or whatnot. They're still going to be tough. They're still going to be a great baseball team, but the Padres have made the moves they needed to make, and they're starting to overtake the Dodgers. Now, this is the year for us to win the division and go farther in the playoffs.
I agree. And I think going back to Michael Wacha, and then I want to get into Yu Darvish, is listen, he had a really tough stretch from 2019 to 2021. And we saw him particularly improve in 2 areas last year. Really not walking players. And that's really, really important, right? He had a 6% walk rate in 2022. He also scaled back his home run rate. So I don't think Padres fans, I don't think we expect Michael Wacha to boast another 3.3 ERA. But even if this guy has a ERA in the low 4s, but he's pitching 150 plus innings, that is the main purpose of having a Michael Wacha on your team. So listen, I think some Padres fans may question the length of the deal, but when you're considering this guy wanted a 2-year, $30 million deal heading into free agency, and they got out of it with the 4-year, 24, and that's up to $24 million. That's what, if he hits on all those incentives.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, man. AJ Preller's manipulating this CBT. He's looking like a wizard with this Michael Wacha contract. Heath, I want to start with you. I know you think the Yu Darvish deal is a bit lengthy. He's going to be 37. They're giving him a 6-year deal. They get him down to 18 AAV, which is great. Talk to me. Initial thoughts.
Initial thoughts. Originally, I mean, Tom Brady plays into his 40s, and some other NFL guys are doing that. So why not baseball? I mean, I'm kind of jealous now. It seemed like your late 30s, just 10 years ago when I was playing, that you were no good anymore. You're no good at 37, 38, 39. Now it's like, well, we'll give you a 6-year contract at 37. Why not? So, I think Yu Darvish could possibly do it. I'm just a little weary on, especially Japanese pitchers, or Asian pitchers, because they throw a lot when they're really young and this and that. And they, there's a lot of bullpens. They don't rest a whole lot. A little worried about that, but he's been with San Diego for a couple of years now. They kind of know his routine. I hope he's in the gym, staying nice and healthy and this and that, because I believe that you don't get older. You just get older as the less you do. If you don't work out as much, and if he's still working out like he was in his late 20s, why not? You can stay young. Young is age is, number is just an age or whatever the hell I'm saying. But I'm a little scarce, but I like Yu Darvish because he's not a power pitcher. He's a control pitcher, and he does have some velocity once in a while. But he goes out and pitches, kind of like Greg Maddux pitched into his 40s, where he didn't throw hard. He threw 84, 81 miles an hour, but the ball just moved and he just mixed up pitches. And Darvish has, like 5 or 6 pitches. So, I think he could possibly do that.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And, for me, it's nice to think that Yu Darvish could go to the Hall of Fame as a Padre, right? Spending the rest of his career foreseeably and, bearing any trades or anything like that. And if he were to actually make the Hall of Fame, because he's played with the Padres the longest as a Padre, I still think there's a lot of unfinished business for him, getting over that hump and not falling, off kind of a little bit in the second half, or maybe not even having a slow start. I think, it teeters back and forth. Having a consistent season with certainty that you're going to be with this franchise for a long time, with Ruben Niebla, with this rotation, I think it's great for him. Him and his family have been solidifying themselves as pillars in this community as well. I think that's great. I love to see when guys do that. So I'm really excited about it. And, with all the recent signings, as locking up Yu Darvish and what we just talked about with Wacha, it's really giving us more certainty what our future looks like, and it's going to start to get to the point where we will need to see what we're going to do with Soto, what we're going to do with Machado, because all these other places need to fall into place, because we don't want to be left with our dick in our hand, not knowing what we have to do with our rotation. But we've locked up all these superstars, so it's good to have like those 2 guys and Joe, so 3 guys who are locked in for the next 4 years at least.
Yeah, and specifically from a pitching perspective, right? And that was our biggest question mark heading into this year. We, knock on wood, we know this offense is going to be elite, or at least we hope so. The question mark was always pitching. And I kept asking you guys on previous episodes, if one of those big 3 guys goes down, this team's screwed. Well, now that they have a guy like Michael Wacha, they're not as screwed, right? If God forbid you get an injury to Darvish, Musgrove, or Snell, right? Now you have a guy in Michael Wacha who's at least going to give your offense a chance every 5th day. That's all you can ask for with an elite offense. So this was the final piece to the puzzle. I don't have no crystal ball. I don't think they're going to make any moves until opening day, because why would they? I was literally just looking at this 40-man. I'm like, holy cow. Yeah. I mean, this team is so stacked.
For me, there's only one move that I could possibly see them making, and it's still very unlikely, and that would be just upgrading the catching position. I'm still not sold that like Nola is the guy, and I know that
the pitchers love him, Nick.
Exactly. He's developed a great rapport with a lot of these pitchers on the roster. I think Campusano is going to get a lot of run this year. I think now is the time for him to finally get up to the majors and stay with the club consistently and not go up and down, and give him the real at bats that he needs.
He's their backup.
Exactly. Because I mean, there was rumors that we were going to go after Contreras. There was rumors when Real Muto was available that we were going to get him. So they're definitely looking to see if there's going to be a catcher or 2 that become available. But I would not be shocked if it doesn't happen.
With a catcher, if your pitching staff does really well with him, then you can lack he doesn't have a bat or whatnot. As long as he can throw out a few guys from time to time. I mean, we'll find out, because a lot of guys are going to be running now, because it's
bigger bases,
6 inches closer now. So, especially, I bet you the oven mitts that everybody wears now, originally you wear it because you didn't want to jam your finger or whatnot, but now everybody wears them. They're going to be like this long. They're going to be like 12 inches long, all the oven mitts.
I never understood why more guys didn't wear them. I mean, it's just like an extra inch that you get.
And the bases are going to be closer now. So, but if you have a good catcher and the pitchers like throwing to them, you'll give up a steal here, a steal there, because you have that relationship and you can call pitches. And I feel like either you have a really good hitting catcher or your catcher lacks hitting, but he makes it up with the pitching staff. And the pitchers even pitch better, so they give up less runs.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't thought about that. Yeah, why more players don't wear the oven mitts? I know Ha-Seong Kim loves it. I better if Fernando's going to be stealing, I better hope we see him wearing some of those, because I don't want to see any head first slides from Tatis this year. I don't. But it was nice to see him in the batting cage, man. The swing looks back.
I was gonna say, I mean, that was a sight for sore eyes to see him finally take some cuts, fully healthy. I just realized, I mean, obviously we knew this was a thing, but Bob Melvin has never managed a game under Tatis or with Tatis on the roster.
Yeah.
pretty crazy to think about. I mean, you feel like Bob's been our guy forever at this point, and he's been there for a year.
Well, when
Yeah,
you go into the playoffs and you have a team that we know is going to be there for a long time, all of a sudden you feel like they've been there forever. You
Yep.
know, like I
was
guarantee
talking-
you, the end of April, sometime in May or something, we're gonna be like, man, Walker's like, our guy. We've been with him forever.
I hope so.
Sign me up for that. I was literally talking to a buddy about this the other day, but you really hope with Tatis, it's like seeing this team make it to the NLCS and him not being able to be a part of that at all with Bob Melvin. It's like if this doesn't light the fire under this guy, nothing will. And you can really see that he's coming with this approach. And what I've noticed is, you guys remember when he started separating that shoulder, where they made him keep both of his hands on the bat after on his follow through. But now I'm starting to see him in the cage. He's back to his Tatis swing, where he just has one hand on the bat and he's not thinking about it anymore. And that's the best thing about it. Because when he was hitting 42 bombs in 120 games, he said, my shoulder was hurting the whole time. So now that he has a healthy shoulder, how many is he going to hit?
50.
Yeah, right. He's going to hit 80, right? So, but Bob Melvin was given an update about how the shoulder's great and how the wrist is still taking a little bit of time. I know Padre fans are a little bit concerned about the wrist. Heath, do you know anything? Did you ever have any other teammates who had like a wrist injury? Because I know what I've heard is it takes forever to heal because there's not much blood flow in the wrist.
Well, that is correct. But also the biggest thing about a wrist injury is, swinging a bat when you make contact or you swing and miss, that awkward motion that we all do when we play ball. If you do everything correct, everything always feels fine. But that awkward, if he's going to play the outfield, like diving for a ball or running into a wall, just the stuff that you can't practice, and mentally, do you feel like my wrist is 100%, and when he's swinging, it looks like it's free and clear, and I'm not even thinking about it. So when you're thinking about your wrist, that's the hardest time to come back, guys have said. And I know some pitchers that have hurt their wrist and they just feel like they can't do it. But as soon as you stop thinking about it, then that muscle memory comes back. But we always worried about that one. All I could say is like the diving play, running into the wall, sliding back into first base, diving, head first somewhere, because he's going to dive head first.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to ever go feet first, but just doing that hook slide or something that you don't ever practice. If you're worried about it, you're going to get hurt. But if you're not worried about it and it feels good, I mean, we'll probably know. And I think he'll be 100% because he's not going to start the season off with everybody else. He's going to have a little bit more time to heal. So in spring training, let's take him a little bit slow. Then a couple weeks go by and then we'll get him. And my biggest concern about Tatis, two things. One, hopefully he matures up and grows up, like you've been saying. Maybe he got a little jealous last year. I want to be on the playoffs. I want to do that.
Yeah.
Two, is he going to be happy and embrace you're going to go the outfield, bud? Once in a while, not be that, well, hey, I get to play short. Let me show them that I'm better at short than X is. Day that we give him a break or whatnot. And just be like, hey, let's do what I can to help this team win, because that's all I care about doing is helping the Padres win a championship. Is he going to embrace that? And that's the maturity level that I think, Machado kind of done in San Diego. I think he's really matured into a team leader, where everybody kind of sees it. And I want to see him with the Padres for the rest of his career.
Yeah, I think, those are both huge maturity things. And it looks like from all accounts that we've seen so far that he has embraced the position. I don't think he's told people like, I'm playing shortstop. Like, we're seeing videos of him right now at spring training, shagging balls, and he's looking pretty good. So let's just hope that, he's fully adjusted by the time his suspension is over and that he's ready to be our starting right fielder.
Juan Soto and Fernando Tatis Jr. in one team's outfield on the corners. Hey, and I know we don't want to spend too much time on Trent Grisham, but I'm bullish on him having a nice bounce back year.
Like, he's a Gold Glover.
Gold Glover, but just even hitting 230, running into 20 balls, 100% will take that with his plus defense. So, and I think the move to left field was good for Soto. I think it's an easier place to play at Petco versus right field. And we can mask him, shade him a little bit more defensively, and Fernando can cover more ground in right field and show off that arm. So I think it was a move that had to be made, and that's great. I know Heath mentioned Manny Machado. We saw Kevin Acee go on Darren Smith's show the other day, giving an update on Manny Machado's contract, saying that he doesn't think that the Padres and Machado are close at all in a contract. Since we've last spoken, we've seen reports saying that Machado wants $40 million AAV, so 10-year, $400 million deal from multiple reports. Dennis Lin, Bob Nightingale. And I kept telling Padre fans that on my Hogwatch YouTube show, and they're all like, we want Manny Machado back. And then when those reports came out, people are like, oh, I don't know anymore. So, guys, $40 million a year for another decade-long deal. I know what he's meant for the city, but at what point does it become egregious?
I mean, that's a lot of money. I think he mentioned on that interview as well. He said the Padres made it known exactly how they see Manny Machado and what he's worth by offering Aaron Judge and Trey Turner those massive contracts, right?
They showed their
if
hand,
you're gonna offer it to them, you might as well offer it to Manny as well. They showed their hand a little bit. You're right. So I mean, you got to at least offer him what you offered Trey Turner, in my opinion. And that was 340 or something for 10 years or
it was an 11. It was an 11-year deal for Trey Turner, I believe.
But isn't Turner younger
by like a year?
By a year, 11 years. No, it was only 11 years, 300 only.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, only. No. But here's the thing. Here's where the Padres have a beautiful situation. If we don't get Manny, then you go all in Soto.
Yeah, I agree.
So, I mean, you go for like Manny's my number one. I want him. I need him. But if I don't get him, okay, if it's your decision, maybe we go up to 35 and not go 40 or whatnot. You know, it's a cat and mouse game.
Yeah, of course.
And then, you know, at the end of the year, you throw in, hey, we didn't get Manny and he's leaving. Hey, Soto, you want 40? You want 35? Let's go.
Well, look, they say 40 knowing that someone's going to come to the table with, you know, a negotiation where it's like, all right, we say 40, we'll take 35. I think really what the biggest thing, in my opinion, it's the AAV, yes, but it's also just the length, right? Mm-hmm. Putting him under contract until he's 40 or into his 40s.
Here's what I would love to do, and I don't know if the players would do it. I would do it. Rodriguez up in Seattle, what they did, he had his contract can match out Julio to $400 million, but it's based at like 200, you know, or 230. And if he produces and performs, you know, and stays healthy, he gets the 400 or whatnot. Mm-hmm. Why don't we just do something like that? Like Machado, if you're in the, you know, top 5 of home runs, top 5, you know, RBIs, this and that, you get all these bonuses. You can make 40 million a year, but your start at 30.
Color's creative with that. Yeah.
You're guaranteed at 30, but you can get an extra 10, you know, per year if you do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. I like that.
I mean, here's the thing. We're talking, you're making 30 million a year or 40 million a year. I mean, come on. We're not talking like you make, you know, $30 an hour and $40 an hour. I mean, we're talking millions here. I mean, come on, Machado. Don't be greedy, because greedy never works out for anybody.
Yeah, no, I like the point though of making it incentive laden. I mean, they did that with Matt Carpenter, right? His biggest issue has been availability. So they're like, Matt Carpenter, you don't even need to produce. Just if you're having healthy at-bats, you're good. We're going to pay you.
Yeah.
Right. So
and put it in there when you're in your late 30s.
Yeah. Structure it around a player and areas that they maybe need to work on or improve on, and make that incentive laden. I don't know.
What does Manny to improve on though?
I know, right? I don't know.
Staying healthy, especially when you're past 35, 36, 37 years old.
Really?
You get up to 40, your body starts going, I don't know.
Right. No, I mean, look, he's not even 30 years old yet. The only injury that we've seen him have, or he is 30 now, but really only the injury we've seen him have is that ankle injury that was just like a freak accident where he slipped on the base. But other than that, I mean, he's been rock solid.
I'm just worried about past 35. Everybody past 35, your body, even Tom Brady, that is, you know, is like 45, 50 years old. Even Nolan Ryan that pitched into his 40s, his body acts a little bit different in the late 30s, especially in your 40s. So Machado, you're 30. Give yourself 5 more years. Your body's going to be different than you are right now. You're going to think, no, it's not, but trust me, your body gets different.
Another thing is with these guys, and you know, Heath, you know, this is a former player. I'm not sure how it worked with you, but Preller's told the media too, like once the season starts, these conversations are going to sleep. Like they're not going to be talking
Focus
about
on the game. Yeah.
they're not going to be talking about these things. And then, Preller also mentioned with the whole WBC thing, that's why, he wanted to get it done with Darvish before he went to camp with Japan for the WBC, so he didn't have to think about it, because if Japan makes a deep run, he's not going to get back to San Diego until a few days before opening day. So they didn't want that contract that he had to loom. So I don't know how it's going to be with Machado, if Preller's going to be in contact with his agent. But once Machado goes to the WBC, if they're making a deep run, which the Dominican likely will, we're going to lead right into opening day. And if he's not in it playing with the new deal until opening day, there's a very good chance that Manny Machado is going to enter free agency. And that's definitely going to raise some eyebrows for some Padre fans. So there's actually not as much time left until these guys start going to play in the WBC.
Yeah, I think they report early March.
Here's the thing. I mean, you can have a conversation with, when you're playing and you're trying to figure out a contract, this and that. As a player, you just try to go out there and play. If you are a guy that's calling your agent once a week, hey, we got a deal yet, this, and this, you're not going to perform. You're not going to do well. And you're worried about the outside stuff, not the stuff on the field. So maybe I love Machado, but maybe you don't want him. If he's always worried about the money, let his agent deal with that. I would try to get things done like AJ has. That's the one good thing he's done so far that I'll actually give him props. Don't talk about during the season, but once a month, or even at the All-Star break or after 2 months of the season, hey, if that player is really playing really good, call his agent. The agent's never going to go, we're not going to listen to you until after the year.
Right.
The player is going to say, I don't want to talk about this because I want to perform. But you go to the agent and say, hey, yeah, I'll give you what you're asking. And the agent could say, screw you, we want more now. Say, okay. Then you go to the player and say, hey, I'm giving you what you want. Do you want more now since you're doing good? Like, I'm giving what you want. So, that's the gamble you play. That's the game. So, but you also have a time at the end of the season to sign a player before he hits free agency. The season doesn't end. We could get something done. Let's say we win the World Series. I think it's a few weeks after the World Series that players become free agency. It's not like the next day. So you have a little bit of time. You have a few weeks to negotiate, to have contract talks or whatnot. It just may cost you a little bit more if the player did really well, or is like, a World Series MVP or something like that. But, it is what it is. So that's the game you play. And that's what AJ is doing right now.
Yeah.
Yep. It's, we'll see what happens, man. It's, we've got ongoing talks. Machado, Soto, those are kind of the two big ones. At least they got the pitchers done. But there is one pitcher we can wrap up on who is a free agent coming up this year, and that's Blake Snell. And I particularly saw Snell. He looks like he's in great shape coming into spring training. And I know a lot of people were talking about that. And I'm expecting a huge year from Blake Snell because, listen, he's in a contract year and he's 30 years old. He got that one, I'd say little, but a 5-year, $50 million deal with the Rays, right, who never pay their guys. So he's looking for that 9-figure, generational wealth, one more big deal payday. And he's not going to get it if he's just second half Snell. Right. He's going to need to be 162 game plus Blake Snell this year. So I think from I'm not saying he's driven by money, but I'm saying if I'm going to bet on him, I'm going to bet on him this year.
Yeah, this is the year to do it for sure. I think it was always an awkward adjustment for him coming to San Diego. He never really felt like he was, I would say, ecstatic to be here. I'm not sure he wasn't like mad to be here, but he was kind of pissed off that the Rays got rid of him. And, you'd heard that he wasn't a big fan of our previous pitching coach. And whatever, it is what it is. He's gone now. But, now it seems like he's starting to embrace, the culture, and he's excited about the team. And he's been with us now. This will be his third season. Like, it's a contract year, as you mentioned. So he's got a lot to prove, that he can not only just be a second half pitcher, but an all year pitcher. And a guy who can go deep into innings too, because Heath, as long as we've been doing the show together, I've been telling you, he doesn't go long. 4 innings, 5 innings. I think his max has been 6 innings in his career.
We're lucky if he goes through the 5th.
36 pitch first innings. I can't do that anymore.
Can't do it. Load the bases, but don't give up any runs. Well, that's just like you threw 3 innings basically.
You're going to turn into a lefty specialist / reliever.
Yeah,
exactly. If he goes to free agency, that's what's going to happen if he has another year like he's had.
He wants a Carlos Rodon contract apparently, so he's gonna need to shove this year.
I want a $300 million deal too, but I'm a realist and knowing I'm not going to get it.
Yeah.
Well, some of these guys, they believe in
money is
themselves.
crazy.
They believe in themselves, obviously. And when you're a young pitcher in baseball who's won the Cy Young, given that, you always believe that you can get back to that point. So hopefully he does. I mean, guys, especially in pitching, can be late bloomers sometimes. I know he had that hardware early in his career, but it's never too late for a resurgence. Jacob deGrom, as we've mentioned, made his debut at 26, 27 years old.
He's hurt
And
now.
yeah, he's hurt now. But I mean, like, the fact that he was dominant for 4, 5, 6 years after that, into his early 30s.
I think Snell won the Cy Young, was kind of put it on cruise control. Tampa, not happy there, went here, kind of cruise control, just complained about everything. His heart wasn't into it, like you said. And, he started to try a little too hard last year. Now I think he's realized, okay, let me just pitch. Let me throw strike 1, strike 2, strike 3. I mean, that's all you need to do. Don't walk people. Start off. I mean, the batting average drops. I mean, if you throw strike 1 to a 300 hitter, he's batting 200 now. If you throw ball 1, he's batting 400. And then that's when you're going to load the bases. You're a good enough pitcher to get out of the jam, but come on, you're not a starter. Are you a number ace? Are you a number 1, 2 starter? Or are you a 4 or 5 starter? Because a 4 or 5 starter, you don't know what you're going to get.
You know what? Also, something that, like, you can see the differences in players sometimes, right? Like Joe Musgrove, for instance, hometown kid, grew up like loving the Padres, wears 44 because of Jake Peavy, his favorite player, gets the big, hometown discount extension, all that, stays with the team he grew up watching. And you can tell every game he throws the intensity in there, right? Through the first Padres no-hitter, when we're in the playoffs, he's shutting down the Mets, right? Like,
he's
you
screaming,
can see
shouting.
exactly. You could see that, like, it means so much to him. He's passionate, and like, this is his team. I'm even starting to see that at Yu Darvish too. Like, this is his new home. Like, he's screaming, like, he's fired up, he's energetic, he's in the community. But there's certain guys that it kind of just seems like it's just a job, and that's it. Like, this is just the team that pays their salary, and that's all it is. And they're going out there just doing their job.
And some are so good. Some are so good, right? Where it doesn't matter.
Exactly. Some are so good where it doesn't matter. They're just taking care of business. But Blake Snell just kind of seems like one of those guys, at least right now, that's just there just to do his job, right? And I'm wondering for you, Heath, as a former player, like, when you're going to an organization, like, what does it take out of the organization for you to be like, and this may just be person to person, completely personality based, but what does it take for you to be like, okay, you know what? I really love this team. I love this city. I love this culture. I want to bring a championship to this team and not just do my job, but actually just embody this. You know what I mean?
Well, it takes a group of guys on the team all going in the same direction, and you feel like the coaches have your back. They're not just part of the front office going, like, say Snell's going in and Bob Melvin is just using them for this year and has no intention of having them long term. You'll realize that. But if you're like, hey, there's a chance we really want you long term, I don't know, it's your decision, and the club's decision. But when you have the club doing what the Padres are doing now, keeping guys, going out and getting guys, like, we could have easily got Soto last year and said, yeah, we have him for 2 years, and then he's going to free agent. No, we're talking about signing him. We want to keep him here. And I feel like it's a good place. I'm pretty sure, they want Snell to pitch better, like we know he can pitch. And okay, let's keep you here, but you got to clean it up a little bit. So you got to have a culture of the front office, or you at least have to feel the front office has your back, the coaches have your back, the players are all fighting together. But when there's been some players like Jeff Kent back in the day, he was just doing it. Now he doesn't care hoots about baseball. There's other guys that don't even watch the game and don't even care about the game, but they're really good athletes. And some were, Hall of Famers where, I know they're that good, but when that in the locker room, that it's just a job to them, they just want to get paid the most amount. They don't really care if you do well. They win a World Series. Yeah. Everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to be on TV, and everybody wants to win a World Series and have the trophy and the hardware. But at the end of the day, they don't really care, and that about guys. And you don't say that while you're playing, but there's guys that they just don't care. And those are the guys that are hard, because you root for everybody, but it's almost like you don't root for them as much, because, they love fishing more, they love football more, or whatever it is. they just, it's like, this is my job. This is what I do. But after that, I could care less about baseball. I don't want to watch it. After baseball, I'm not going to do it because, I don't really like the sport, but I can get paid doing it. It's like, well, gosh, I'm busting my ass over here. And I feel like you're just kind of going through the motion.
Yeah.
Like if, let's say Trent Grissom was that way, and I'm not saying he's that way, everybody'd be pissed off. Like, dude, you got the speed, you have the ability, and you're not really working hard. And you're like, yeah, but I'm the starting center fielder, so I don't really need to hit good. I don't need to work out. I don't need to do this. Not saying he did that.
Well, no,
it's just one of those guys that like,
when I'm watching him on TV and when I'm watching how like the clubhouse kind of responds to him, just like, person to person interaction, just doing your observations here. Like he kind of looks like one of those guys as well, right? Like he's not really like hanging out with the team. He's not really like socializing, like obviously there was a reason why like he was slumping. Maybe he's the outsider, right? And he's the one who's just like, yeah, I'm just going to go out and do my job and play center field. And, it is what it is. I mean, some guys are just like that, but I'd like to see the entire team come together and buy in for this 1 year.
Here's the thing: spring training, have a team party, barbecue throughout the year. Have 3 or 4 team dinners where everybody on the team goes, coaches, whatever, and training staff. You can bring them along because nobody ever loves the training staff. So love your training staff, boys. Forget about your coaches, but have the team dinner together. I mean, you're going to have 26 guys, you're going to basically be the whole restaurant or whatnot. Have 3 or 4 of those and your team will stay close together. But if your team doesn't do stuff together, it ain't going to happen. You're going to have your little cliques, you're going to have your bullpen guys, your starters, your outfielders, your infielders. You're going to have your little cliques here and there, and that's fine. But you all are rooting for the same. You're all rooting to win the game every single day. And you're all trying, you don't care about stats. You just go out there, want to put up W's. And if you guys do that, the end of the year, you're going to have good stats. You're going to have good numbers, but do what it takes to help the club win that night, not for the month. And, that really makes a team and makes a dynasty. And, the Padres right now have a chance to do that, even with, guys not being raw guys or really showing emotion, because not everybody shows a lot of emotion. But you look in the locker room and look in the dugout. When the Padres are winning the last couple of years, they're showing a lot of emotion. They're taking pictures. They're having fun. They're doing this. Keep doing that. When we got in that strut where we weren't winning, we weren't having fun. Now, I know it's easy to have fun and when you're winning, but you can still be rooting guys on, still doing a little bit, like not having too much fun, but having a little bit of fun. It makes everybody easy, relaxed and, and like pitchers. I remember last year when they were all following Yu Darvish and doing weird things, and then they got away from it and they all sucked.
Yeah.
Keep doing it all year. Even if you lose, keep doing it.
I like the Polaroid tradition. I think they should keep
That's cool. There's a lot of personalities though in this clubhouse. So yeah, as you said, it's important for them to kind of keep that on a good trajectory and make sure everyone's going well.
Is your dog okay? I haven't seen him move once.
Stay. Tex is staying right there.
Okay.
He's good. He won't move. He listens.
Good.
I told you I'm gonna have a little friend with me every single time. Might be a little lucky cat. Might be my dog. You never know.
My dog.
My dog.
Speaking of my dog, you guys are my dogs. So.
Aw. Thanks, Nick.
Yep.
Well done, gentlemen. It was it's time, man. It's time. A few weeks. We are ready to go. I know I got a couple buddies trying to get opening day tickets, and they're running up pockets. So I don't blame them. We're gonna have to start paying all these guys some more. So keep jacking up the prices.
Here's the best thing. If anybody that wants an open day ticket, this is the best game to go to, or best way. Go to the day 2. Don't go to opening day. I know it's all exciting and stuff, but you can always get day 2 tickets.
True.
You don't see them walk down, the field or whatever, or weird, fly over, and you watch that on TV. It's all exciting. Go to game 2. Then it's back. It's baseball season again.
Yeah. They still have the little opening day logo painted on the side.
Everything is still there. They just don't have the little, fireworks.
Yep.
But if you feel like it's the season and you're not going to miss anything.
That's good advice.
And you probably get to see Joe Musgrove pitch because Yu Darvish probably starts the season.
I wonder who's going to be the opening day starter. We should save that for a future episode. But I could see them giving it to Joe. I could see them giving it to Joe.
Wacha.
No, I doubt it. Give it to Wacha. Why not?
Seth Lugo, baby. Lock it in.
Yeah, why not?
All right, guys. That's
Nick.
That's Heath. I'm Borna. Signing out, everybody. Talk
My
soon.
dog.